Good morning.
Good
morning.
Good morning. We'll try it again. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. A little more energy. I had somebody ask me this morning if I was looking forward to a nice warm summer. And I said, I live in Ohio. You never know. You know, you open the door, oh, it's fall today. Oh, close the door, open the door. Oh, today it's winter. Oh, close the door, open the door. Oh, today it's spring. Today it's, I don't know what it is, but it's Ohio. So anyway, thank you for coming out. I know you could all be doing more enjoyable things than sitting in a fellowship hall, since the weather is fairly nice lately. So welcome to meeting number 336 of TMG Dayton, an Apple user group. And Guillermo, do we have any new members?
I don't think so, but I just can't.
Okay, you don't, okay,
Deborah joined
okay.
since last week.
Did you join? Okay. You actually did? Okay. You're brave. You're brave.
Her dad
Okay.
insisted.
So what I'd ask you to do is, this is part of our welcome, just ask you to stand up, introduce yourself, and just say what kind of stuff you use computers to do at work. And keep it short.
She had to do this last month.
I did. I did it. I'm Deborah. I have a iPhone 14 Pro and a 2012 MacBook Air. I'm still trying to figure out how they both work.
Okay, new member. Okay, now, I notice we have a guest here. Would you mind just introducing yourself to the group?
She's a new member.
She's a member.
Oh, she a new member? Oh,
So I didn't know that. She's been signed up a long time.
oh, this was a stealthy membership.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been here before.
Okay, she doesn't want to. All right, so first time in 20 plus years, I'm gonna let it slide.
Thank you.
Okay, it's only because you know where I live. Okay, so the next thing would be, what have we got in the way of news items coming up? Does anybody have something they want to share with the membership about stuff that's going on? Going once, going twice.
WWDC is next week, or this week.
Monday.
Yeah,
It's starting Monday.
Huge.
okay. So that's
Online.
June 10th, Worldwide Developer Conference. We never really know exactly what they're going to do at the Worldwide Developer Conference, but we do know that they'll be talking about their next series of Apple Silicon chips, the M4, and I'm willing to bet they'll be talking about machine intelligence. Apple doesn't use the term artificial intelligence. They just say machine intelligence, and there's another term that they use, but okay. Anyway, so that's coming up Monday. Something on the interwebs that I saw a live kickback on, and that was Adobe has changed their end user license so that if you read it, it would appear to say that anything you have stored in Creative Suite in their cloud, they actually have some sort of intellectual rights to it. So that has a lot of creative types going, no, you don't own the work that I've done. And you know you don't own the work that I'm doing for the company that I work for. So, you know, it's just one of those things where you sort of go like, is there somebody inside Adobe that's trying to kill the company? You know, maybe they were a former Quark employee. Intel announced they're coming out with a new, improved series of central processing units, and they're going to call them Xeons. So they're revisiting the name that they used 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And last but not least, the other prediction I have is they'll be doing a nice dog and pony show at Worldwide Developer Conference about iOS 18. So we're currently on iOS 17. So when I say iOS, it's applesauce. That would be iPhone OS, iPad OS, Watch OS, TV OS, HomePod OS. I'm missing one. Oh, Apple Vision Pro OS. So they just call that Vision OS. So again, I'm just going to say, I just use the term applesauce. Applesauce, because that was a really early on operating system from Apple. Apple SOS, and they called it applesauce. All right, moving right along. Anybody else have anything in the way of news items they want to share? None. Okay. Next thing we would be doing is HomeKit Minute, but we don't have Dan here this month. So I'll just say, in terms of HomeKit, over the summer, I will be working with devices that are Internet of Thing type devices that are security devices. So I've got a motion camera light sensor from Eufy, and I've got some stuff from, don't laugh, Harbor Freight, and I also have some other stuff that's from Amazon that I'll be playing with. So, okay, so that's your HomeKit Minute. Next thing would be freebies and wanted for sale. Is there anything that someone's looking for that they're hoping a club member might have? Fun ones, fun twice. No. Did anybody bring anything in that they're either put on, it's either freebie or that they're selling today?
I've got a couple of printers over here. The one on the left is an older one, but it has a scanner. Both of them are, what do they call them?
All-in-one.
All-in-one thing. The other one is they all work. At least last time I checked them, they did. And they just we tried to do a couple of things with, especially one on the right, and it didn't work for the specific things we wanted it to do. So we replaced it with something.
Okay, so we have an HP all-in-one. All-in-one means it prints and it scans and it copies. And the other one is an Epson all-in-one. Okay. I noticed the older one, the HP all-in-one, that's old enough that you can use third-party cartridges in it and it won't cause problems. They're also, the older one, even if the cartridges aren't working, you can still scan and copy and do that sort of, copy to a machine. Epson's and the Lexmark and the Xerox machines tend to get very finicky. They won't do stuff that doesn't require printing, even if the print cartridges aren't 100%. So like you've got a prime for cyan, it needs a cyan cartridge, and you're going, but I'm just scanning this to my computer, but it won't work. So just be aware that that's one of the things that they've done to promote the purchase of their unique cartridges. Okay, and you said you wanted what? 25 for the older one, 50 for the newer one? Okay, or best offer.
Offer, yeah.
Okay.
I'll listen.
Okay. So we got anybody else going once, going twice? I already talked to you about joysticks. Okay. Next thing would be help desk. Help desk. Okay, let's see. We got anybody here that needs help? Anybody? Oh, all right. Ms. Watchinich. Okay,
It's
Kathy.
lost Nick,
Okay.
and it's Mrs.
Okay.
I bought my phone laptop, and it was hacked into. And I had sent and asked what additional things I could get to protect it. And I didn't get any response from anybody. So Mark George said that he would refer
Okay.
it. So I just would like to know if there's something else I can use too. Because I can't even get banking online because of it.
Okay. Are you mobile this week? You got a car and everything? Okay. Talk to me at the break. If you come over to the house, we can go through stuff.
Okay.
Okay, chances are, no, they really didn't hack into it. I'm just saying, but remember, this is me speaking without ever having looked at the machine, okay, the device. But chances are they didn't hack into it, unless, of course, you let them remote into your computer.
That's what I did, unfortunately.
Okay, then, yeah, we need to do some stuff. Okay,
Here, thank
okay.
you. That wasn't too painful, was it? Go on.
Okay, I'm trying not to do senior moments up here. All right, let's see, anybody else would have helped us issue question? Yes, Ray?
I need the instructions to do part of what you were talking about. I wanted to put a document on my printer, which is a scanner.
Yeah.
And not copy it, but actually transform it into the computer so I could send it to somebody.
Okay,
And
so, okay, let me restate what I'm hearing to make sure I'm getting it right. You've got a piece of paper, a physical document.
Right.
And you want to send it to someone, and you don't want to send it by US mail.
Correct.
You want to email it to them. So you got to convert it into a digital document that you can attach to an email and send off. Okay, question. Is it good enough if it's just a picture of the piece of the document, or is it something where it actually has to be like a PDF as opposed to a picture?
Sometimes it could be either one. In a second thing that I wanted to do is take a picture of it or scan a picture of it,
Yeah.
and then enlarge it by 2.
Okay.
In the computer. So
Yeah.
And then the other one is I wanted to send a copy of what I scanned.
Okay. Typically, if you want to modify the dimensions of the document, you're better to scan it in as a picture, because then you can use something like photos, or there's a whole bunch of programs that'll let you make it twice as big. If it's something like a form that you want somebody to fill out, but you don't want them to be able to modify the text, that's also something that you typically would let them, you'd send it as a picture. So it'd be a JPEG or a TIFF, that sort of thing. If you're okay with them being able to modify it, then just a regular PDF would do. And the way you normally do that is you go into your scanner software, and they'll have where you can buttons.
Recording in progress.
Printer or scanner. And when you tip the scanner, this is on your main computer, you can then, the computer's talking to the printer, and it'll ask you where do you want to put the document, how big you want to scan it, what resolution you want to scan it, how much detail there needs to be.
Then that brings up one more thing that I don't like about Epson.
Yeah.
I always said, to be able to do what you're talking about, the screen is the size of a postage stamp. And I have to have a big,
Okay. Are you talking about on a computer, or are you talking about from a phone or an iPad?
the little
Are you talking about on a computer?
No, I'm talking about something on the Epson.
Yeah.
Printer
Oh, you're talking about the control panel on the front of the printer?
Yeah.
Oh, those are terrible. They're not made for people with regular eyes. I do all this stuff not from the front panel of the computer, but from software, not on the front panel of the printer, but rather software that is on the computer.
Okay.
So typically, Epson, when you install the printer, it installs software on the computer, not only for you to be able to print to the printer, but also to be able to scan from it. Yes?
Mark's gonna send you an email. Another way to do this is just use your phone or your iPad.
Yeah.
Because you can use the notes, click the camera button, it'll scan it as a document and write into a PDF, and you can email it straight out. It's really easy and fast, and it's an option you can look at. You got an iPad, or you can use your phone, and they can size it whatever size they want once they get it.
The other thing is, if you're gonna do a lot of this stuff, and you're gonna be taking pictures of documents with your phone, what I found is very helpful is to just make sort of a little stand so that it's exactly far enough away to get an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And that way, I don't have to worry about, I'm moving the phone up and down. The phone is at a fixed focal length, and then I just press the button to take the picture. Okay. In some ways, it really is a lot easier to just use your phone or an iPad to do it.
It's really fast, and I use it all the time.
Okay. Plus, eventually, if you're not printing stuff and you're not scanning stuff on the printer, then eventually you can get rid of the printer and you have one less thing to irritate and annoy you. This is an former IT professional. 85% of the calls that I handled over the 60 years I've been working with computers have been printers. In fact, when I left the Dayton Daily News, the party that the paper didn't have for me, but my coworkers had for me, they gave me this cute little thing. There was some folks in advertising had made it up. It looked like a golden book, the kids' hardcover golden book, and the cover was The Little Printer That Could. A fable. And I was duly appreciative of it. Okay, just reality check. All the times I've come over to your house, because it's been, what? The printer?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay. Yes,
If you
Mr.
have an Epson printer, there's Epson scan software that comes with it.
Yeah.
That you can just run, put the paper on the glass and run Epson scan, and then scan it for you.
But remember, our purpose as a group is not just to help you get stuff done, but also to make you widen that envelope a little bit to learn how to do those things in newer ways. Because eventually, they'll take your pink princess phone away from you, and you won't be able to use that anymore, or your pager. So you gotta, move along. Think of new technology as being senior enrichment activities. Okay. Anyway, moving right along. Who else do we have for help desk? Anybody else for help desk? How about out in Peanut Gallery? There's Zoomers. Nope, I'm not seeing anybody there.
Raise a hand up.
Okay, so we're good. So we'll move on to raffle then. Raffle. I'm going to be doing my presentation using a PDF in a program from Apple called Preview, and there's a video that was embedded in my original presentation that I'll be playing separately. So I'll be doing a quick switch. Okay, manage your iPhone on your terms with iMazing. iMazing is okay, hold on here. Okay, so that's iMazing. This is the third iteration of it, iMazing. This is the application icon. And that strange looking doodle is an overview of a country called Switzerland. So that's why there's a white cross on it. It's supposed to be red instead of muddy brown. And so let me go down. Okay, so the problem. I like everything to be problem and solution oriented. So 3 problems. 1, cloud backups are confusing. I can't tell you how many presentations we've done on managing iCloud services. And Rick Cartwright has done an excellent job on the ones he's done, But we've spent a lot of valuable meeting time just talking about, okay, how do you handle your photos in iCloud? How do you handle this in iCloud? How do you handle that? How do you know what's up there? But the thing is, you don't really have a whole lot of control over it. You get confused easily. I get confused easily. I feel like I'm out of control with a lot of this stuff, and that's bad, okay? When you feel like you're not in control, that's bad. Okay, so that's problem number one. Problem number two, Amazon, Apple, Google, and Microsoft, which I call AGM, want you to use their media, buy or rent, from the cloud. Okay? Thus, they make it very difficult for you to transfer your media between your devices. In other words, you've got audiobooks that are sitting on a flash drive somewhere or on your computer somewhere, or you've got an ebook that you got from the library that's sitting on your computer somewhere, or some other, an iPad, you know, whatever. You've got these things, music, but they make it so difficult for you to be able to move that stuff onto the device where you want to use it. And the reason why they do that is they don't want you using stuff you've already bought. They want you to just buy the stuff from them. And even worse, they want to lock you into their stores. So if you're buying music on Google Play or you're using Amazon Music, they don't want to make it easy for you to use that stuff on your other devices unless you use their application on that device. So sometimes this also involves advertising, where they actually get another little bite of the apple because there's advertisements in that app that you're using. So it's not you, it's not the hardware, it's not the technology, it's the relentless pursuit for profit, for revenue, that causes the problem. And number three, this is, they want to lock you into their messaging services and search engines. So if you're using an iPhone and you're doing messaging, it isn't just an Apple iPhone, it's an Apple iPhone that's on some cellular provider. They don't want to make it easier for you to move over to some other iPhone or other cell phone provider. So they're going to make it difficult for you to be able to get access to this stuff. Granted, in previous presentations in the user group, we've shown how you can take an iMessage or a text that you've received on your phone and be able to copy it and output it to either notes or some other thing. But it really, that's just like what you can see right there. You don't have a search capability or a block, hey, save all this stuff off. Okay. Make it difficult from your, change that messing applications to messaging applications. Okay, if you want to change it in the, okay, so those are the problems. And now I gotta do this. Okay, any questions at this point? Okay, so what we're going to be focusing on is how this program from Switzerland will let you take control of your backups of your mobile devices. And while primarily they market this as something for the iPhone, it also works with other Apple mobile devices, such as iPads and iPods. Okay, so moving right along. Now this is where I would play the link, and I'm going to play. So this is a video, came from YouTube. The company that makes iMazing, which is DigiDNA, has their own YouTube channel, and they've got a bunch of videos up there talking about their devices. They got wonderful music behind. So this is, you know, sort of just to give you an overview of some of the stuff you can do with this. So quick transfer of documents. you've got a spreadsheet and you want it on your phone. Boom, there it is, any type of file. As many backups as you want to make of your phone, stored where you want it. Being able to export photos from your phone, be able to look at what photos are on your phone on a bigger screen.
I don't see it.
I got it shared.
I don't see it. Share.
Share. It's not sharing.
Oh, well, whatever.
It's being shared.
It didn't work though.
That's
It's not sharing the video, it's just sharing one image. It's only sharing one frame, it's not sharing the whole.
Oh, okay, for the folks that are out in Zoom land, if you go to YouTube and you look for the iMazing channel, they have those, that video, and they have about 20 others where they walk you through some of the cases, use cases of it. Okay. And we'll talk about use cases when I do the live demo at the end. So you've got this program, iMazing. It had another name back in 2008. They changed the name because of copyright, trademark issues. So they changed it to iMazing. It's been around since 2008. I feel like a complete dummy that I didn't know this thing was there. Okay, so this is where I throw in my little bit of philosophy into the meeting. I have rules that I follow for a good life. Some might call them delusions. One of my delusions is everybody has something, either a story or something to teach me. Everyone I've ever met. And you have to slow down and just wait for them to give that to you. Okay, in this particular instance, I learned about iMazing from Bill Wharton, who's sitting in the middle of the road. Because he had a problem with iPhones and he wanted to be able to control his backups and that. I won't go into much more detail than that, but he showed me this and I'm going like, whoa. And it does, oh, and it does, oh. And then I said, oh, it's like a Swiss Army knife or a multi-tool, because it'll let you do all sorts of things. And it doesn't require anything from Apple to do it other than the hardware, the computer, and the device. Now, in terms of this program, iMazing, it runs on Macintosh computers, not on mobile devices. It's a program on a computer used to control stuff that's on mobile devices. And it also comes in another flavor for PC. So you can run it on Windows, a Windows machine. So if you've got an iPhone and you're running a PC at home and you want to have more control over your iPhone from your PC, this program does it. And they have the same interface on both platforms. So that means you only learn it once. Okay. So then the next thing I go is, oh, but the problem I run into is you have to have a certain Mac operating system to get things to work. This thing works from Mac OS 10.11. That's El Capitan. So El Capitan, and then Sierra and High Sierra and all the stuff that came out, all the way up to the current operating system, Sonoma. So that means basically anything you've got from Apple in the way of a computer from 2008 and up, this will run on it. Okay, that's good to know. The next thing is, for Windows, it'll run on Windows 7 or higher. That's what they say. I have actually run iMazing on Windows Vista, and it worked.
You live to tell about it.
Okay, so if you're a PC person and you want control of your Apple devices, whoa. Now, here it says support for iPhone, iPad, and iPod. iPhone, iPad, so support is the same on both. But when we look into the details of that, okay, you know how we all get a little upset with Apple because they took our favorite device and now it's obsolete, it's legacy, it's vintage, etc. This is the compatibility of iMazing app. It'll work for, this is, you know, the devices. All iPhone models from iPhone first generation, that means the first iPhone, it'll work with it, all the way up to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. And if it works with that, it means it'll work with the next one too. All iPad models, that means from the original iPad that didn't have a camera on up to the latest and greatest, it works with those. All iPod models, from iPod Classic all the way up to iPod Touch 7th generation, and Apple Vision Pro. So that latest goggle that Apple is selling to folks, it works with that too. Because remember, the Apple Vision Pro is a computer and you could have music and video and stuff stored on that. The other thing that is in my notes, and which I don't have access to because I'm not doing Keynote, is what versions of the operating system does it work on? Well, it'll work on basically iOS 4 on up. So that would be basically anything that you got, an operating system that you got on these, it'll work with it. Okay? So it's amazingly compatible. Okay, questions at this point?
Where do you download this?
Say it again.
Where do you download it from?
Okay, it's from the DigiDNA site, and it's iMazing, IMAZIN.com. They're located in Switzerland.
It's
they're-
not on the Apple app or anything like that.
No, it's not on the Apple Store, it's directly from them. When I do the demo, I'll be running it in demo mode, so if you download it, you download the Mac version to your Mac and a PC version to your PC. They've got the two buttons that you select, you know, depending on what you've got. What does it run on? It runs on not just Macs with Intel chips, but also Macs with Apple Silicon chips. It doesn't care. And it will run on 32-bit PCs and 64-bit PCs. So it's like amazing. Okay.
What was the site, website, is it Digi something? I didn't catch the first part.
iMazing.com.
But what did you say preceded that?
Don't worry about that.
Okay.
That's the name of the company. They're smart enough to know that
Okay.
they're selling the product, not their company.
Okay. Is there a cost?
Yes, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So now going on up, I'm trying to get to the demo, because that's really the stuff where you see what it can really do. DigiDNA website, if you want to download it, that's the URL, www.imazing.com. And watch out for autocorrect, it'll change it to amazing instead of iMazing. Okay, so then normally I do the thank you, but instead we're going to go into the demo. Now, I brought in an iPhone 4S running, let's see if I get this thing starting. So it's starting, you know, it's old enough that the screen is all black with a white icon in the middle. And then they went to a white screen with a gray icon, and then they went back to a black screen with a white icon. So it's sort of like, it's like life. It's like a merry-go-round, except it goes up and it goes down. So basically life is like a large helix, or if you're a pessimist, a large screw.
So you dug the iPhone out of your museum? You dug the iPhone out of your museum?
I use this old iPhone as an audiobook player. Okay? When I travel and I want to listen to audiobooks, I'm going to take stuff that, if stuff happens and I lose it, I don't care. Or let's say I don't care as much. All right, so here we go. We've got an iPhone 4S. And just to tell you how old that is, in order to connect this, now, connecting your devices to the program iMazing, you can do it one of two ways. You can have it tethered with a cable, and this is an, honest to God, 30-pin Apple iPod cable. That's how old this phone is. The other end is a USB-A. So let me get some things taken care of here. So let me just get this out of the way for a second, and I need to get that off of the computer. It's one of these things that's a fat flash drive, and I can't have it plugged in and use the port next to it. So what I'm going to do now, let me go back up here. Go back to share, and this time I'm just going to share the desktop. Hopefully everybody sees the desktop. And down here in my dock, I'm going to launch iMazing. This program is not serialized at this point. There's no license code in it, so you're seeing it how it would be if you were using it in the free trial. Okay, so the first thing that comes up, it says, do you need a license? Do you already have a license? Because we're doing a demo, we're just going to click the red dot in the upper corner of that window and just have it go away. Now, this is the iPhone 4S. It already sees it. The only time it won't see it automatically is if you had your iPhone where you got to put the passcode in, or you have to say, trust this computer. So let's go up here where it says discover. Move this over a little bit. And we'll just start the tour. So they say connect your device, and they're showing a Vision Pro and I want to say some sort of Max iPhone. And they talk about devices and backups. All right, think about it. When you buy a computer from Apple now, typically they don't have a lot of storage in the computer. They want you to be using iCloud. So being able to back up to your computer, your iPhone backing up to your computer, really doesn't help you very much because you may not have room on your computer. What's nice about iMazing is you can tell it where to put the backups. It can be on an external flash drive. It could be on an external hard drive. I like to use an external hard drive, so I've got the one external hard drive that's connected to my main Mac that does Time Machine, and the other one that I just use with iMazing, where I put backups of my iPads and my iPhones and my iPods and all that. Okay? Then I don't have to worry about the skimpy storage that's on the main device. Okay, so let's click on the next one. So view and manage all of your connected devices and your backups from iMazing. Device overview. So you can go to device overview and see what's going on with this computer. Actually, this iPhone, this iPad, this iPod. Then they have all of these other tools that I won't go in today, but they have tools where you can do diagnosis of a mobile device, and you can also check for spyware. Okay, remember, this is coming from Switzerland, where they have it not only in their constitution, but also in their everyday practice of law, that your data is your data and you actually have a right to privacy. Okay, that's the closest I get to politics in one of these presentations. Okay, Then they have device settings. So you can use this program to reset an iPad, an iPhone, or an iPod, your mobile device. In other words, take it, do a factory reset on it. You can have it turn it off. You can, if you have an iPhone, for some reason, it will not turn off. You could use iMazing to force it to turn off. You can use it to do other things. Check Wi-Fi connectivity, backup encryption, location, a whole bunch of different things. Like I said, we're not going to go into it. But again, backups. So it will do not only full backups, but also snapshot backups. And you can have it where when it sees, let's say iMazing, the program is running, it's running on a computer that's on your local area network, your Wi-Fi network, and your iPhone, you just turned it on and it's on your Wi-Fi network. iMazing will go, oh, I see that on Wi-Fi, that iPhone. Oh, and you have it set so that whenever I see it, I should make another backup. But instead of it doing a backup of everything, it'll just make a snapshot backup, which is what's changed. Okay. So that means it takes a lot less time to get that data. But when you go to restore from those backups, because iMazing will let you not only backup, but also restore from the backup, it takes into account what actually is there and what you want to replace. It's wonderful. You have total control over everything, if you want it. Then you have things where you can monitor your operations, which is, there's this little thing over in the side. Let's say, it's Sunday morning, I'm home from church, and it's the first day of the month, okay? That's backup Sunday, when it's the first Sunday of the month. And I take all my devices that haven't been backed up and I plug them in to a computer and I launch iMazing and it just goes to town. It just starts doing all the backups and that. And I can monitor that it's working on all these things at the same time. It's backing up my iPad and my iPod and my iPhone, and it'll show me when they're done. Beautiful, that you can not only see that it's happening, but you can tell how fast it's happening.
Do those
Something
devices
that's-
have to be on at the time when you're backing up?
Say again,
Do those devices have to be on at the time?
the program has to be on.
Okay.
But that's a good thing, because you don't want something that's doing stuff over your network whenever it wants. You want to control it, okay?
The question was, are the devices you're backing up have to be on?
Yes.
I thought that's what I heard.
Yeah. And if they're not turned on and you plug them in to the computer, it hasn't come on. Then they talk about how you can, unlock it and you can buy it and what it costs and all that. So let me get out of this. So I'm going to just click on the device window for a minute. So we see that there's TMG iPhone 4S. If I click on it, then I get this window and it shows me, oh, it's connected via USB and what the carrier would be and the name of the phone and the model and the operating system, the serial number, the unique device ID, all this stuff that you can find on your iPhone, but you got to go in a couple layers to be able to see it all. And down here in my lower right-hand corner, I can see the batteries at 77% and the condition is poor. That means this battery, while it's charged, it really should have been replaced a couple years ago. Okay? That alone would have been worth it. Okay. And then you have up here photos, music, messages, call history, voicemail. These are all things where you can see what's on this device. So let's go to photos for a minute. So now it's actually the program is talking to the iPhone and it's showing me that, oh, we have these photos that are on it. Now, every review that I saw about iMazing all said, oh, it's terrible. It does not collect your iCloud data. Well, I look at that as a benefit, a reframe. That means there's no way I can screw up anything that's on iCloud. But I can export photos from here that are on iCloud onto another device or storage medium. So while I can't screw up iCloud, I can sure get control of the photos and move them over. Let me show you just real quick how quick transfer would work. So I'm just going to bring up Finder here, and let me go over to Downloads. Okay, and I've got a folder that's just called iMazing Data. Okay, so this is just a Finder folder. Okay, now if I was going to do this the Apple way, I would have to put the picture into Photos or iPhoto, and maybe both, depending if it's one of those machines in the middle. And then I would have to somehow plug the phone in and get it tethered, and then I'd have to import it or export it from Photos or iPhoto. With iMazing, I go, oh, here's a picture. Hey, I want it over on the phone, and I drag it and I drop it. Okay. Now, it came up with that screen to say, hey, you haven't paid for this yet, but it's still moving the photo. So I'm now moving a photo from a Finder folder onto an iPhone without having to jump through flaming Apple hoops. And it's preparing to transfer, and it'll wait for a little bit, and blah, 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 blah. Now, if I click up here, excuse me, wrong one. Yeah, so now I've got my operations window, so it would show me what was running, what was going on. And I'm gonna say stop for a minute. And go on back. So let's click on Photos again, and this time, we'll do something else here, just real quick. Let's go over to Music. Another use case. The #1 usage for iMazing with iPods is you've got an old iPod, but it's too old to be able to sync with your Apple equipment or your PC anymore, but you got music on the iPod, and you want to take the music off of the iPod and get it to where you can use it. So here we go. We've got a song. Let's see, let's take something small here. We'll do this one, African Velvet. Down here in the bottom, it says export. And we can export it directly to the music app, which we want to do, or to a folder. And then it'll say, oh, when I export it, do you want me to put it in subfolders? So we have like the artist is the folder name, and then their stuff is inside. And we say, yeah, do that. And then it says, where do you want to save this stuff? And in this particular instance, I've got a folder over here called iMazing Data, and I say choose that, move it, and again, it'll prompt me for the license, but it'll do it. Export. And next. Pictures. And I'll say later. Okay. So previously I exported a song over here. It's from L.O. Black, a little song called I Need a Dollar Dollar, so I exported it over here. Let's see if we can do an import here now. And just drag that, just do a quick transfer. Oops, excuse me. Click, drag. And we just say 50 left, I just say continue. Boom, copying media to TMG's iPhone 4S. Now, there's another advantage that you have when you're trying to deal with music on these mobile devices. Sometimes the name of the file doesn't really resonate with you and you don't know really what it is. This program, iMazing, also has a player. So when I click on something like, what can I say, it'll start to play it. And you can actually listen to the song and go, oh, that's what it is, without you having to move it. Very nice. Okay, going back again. So we talked about photos and we talked about music. I'm going to go back to where we have data. I must say, this is just another way of looking at what this thing can do. So specifically, things that it can move. And one of the things that I forgot to mention is it doesn't have to be moving it from the computer to a device. I can have an old iPod and a new iPhone, and I can be moving music from the old iPod to the new iPhone. So you've got, you ever get that? Where you go like, I want that one song or that one photo that's on my wife's phone, and I want it on my phone. But I don't want to take it away from her. We're copying, making a copy and putting it over there. So it does photos, it does music, it'll do messages, so like text messages. It'll do call history, voicemails, notes, voice memos, your contact list. So it's a way of taking your contact list and saving it outside, exporting it, or just moving one contact. Calendar, books, audiobooks. Let's do books for a minute, because I'm a big reader. Okay, so we see there's 2 volumes on this iPhone right now. One is Michael Myers' CompTIA A+ certification. It's about an 800-page book. And the other one is the 3rd edition of another one. So the file is here, but if I double-click it and I say continue, it'll ask me, where do I want to open it? And it's going to open up that document on the computer, even though the file is here. So again, you can see what it is, know what it is, and decide, where do I want it? And so I'll just click open, and it should bring it up in the preview app. And boom, 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 boom. Okay, welcome to Apple Books, and I'm not going down that rabbit hole. Okay, I gotta click get started. I really don't like reading my books in the Apple programs. They make it so difficult. I'll just say get started, thank you, now quit, go away. Okay. And this is that whole progress bar thing, so you can see the stuff we've copied, so you can tell what you told it to do. Because you can have it doing all this stuff, and then you forget, oh, did I ask it to move that music there? Oh, I'll go look at the operations tab and see what they did. Okay, so let's go back again. Let's go back to tools, data, movies, TV shows, ebooks, audiobooks, podcasts. You can do Safari bookmarks, Safari reading lists, and apps. So if you've got applications that are legacy on a device, okay, and you want to put that on another device that's also legacy, and I don't care. That was books saying, oh, you told me to go away. No, please don't send. You can have that app saved in a backup and then put it on the other legacy device without having to go to third-party sketchy sites that have old iPad and iPod applications.
So even though it might not be in the store, if the app is not in the store anymore, you can still take it from the legacy app from
That is correct.
and just move it over.
That is correct. Especially if a device, let's say it's an old iPod, and it's getting really weird, and you know you got to do a reset on it. Well, if you reset it, it takes it back to factory reset, which means those programs that you had on it aren't going to be on it. It's just going to be the basic ones that Apple put on it. So how do you get that app back? Well, it's not in the Apple App Store. So there's third-party sites out there where you have to jailbreak your device and do all sorts of stuff, which is not legal. And these are sketchy sites. This stuff may be infected. This is so much nicer. You know where the stuff came from because it came from your backup. It came from your device. You know what it is. There's some other tools that you can do with this. So other than just quick transfer of things, you can manage apps, you can detect spyware, you can back these things up and have multiple backups and say what you want in the backup. So like you could do a backup that's just your ringtones. Okay, and put that off to the side and have it available for you to put back on. You can reinstall operating systems, you can update operating systems with this. In fact, I did that this morning for the 4S. When I plugged it in, iMazing said, oh, by the way, you know, you don't have the latest and greatest of the 10-year-old iOS on it. And it let me update it to the one that it should have. And then there's a whole bunch of geek stuff. Here, just for a second. You know, this is what's actually going on with this iPhone right now. This is what's called the console window. So this iPhone is running, and in its operating system, this is all the messages it's giving. Now, I don't recommend this for normal people. You know, when you go behind the curtain and see the wizard, you know, is sort of rumpled, you don't necessarily, anyway.
We're in a crazy afternoon.
Okay, so let's see if I missed anything here. You can shut it down, you can reset it, you can clear cache. That's always a good one. Here, let's try that on this and see if we, so there's a term that I use. I learned it way back when I was blue collar, and it's cruft. You know, if you're in a machine shop and you're walking up to a Milwaukee router or let's say a milling machine, and you look down to where this thing is maybe, you know, 1,000 pounds, and it's bolted down with bolts, you know, as big as my hand, and you see there's this like patina that's on the base of it. It's not metal filings, it's not oil, it's cruft. It's stuff that accumulates, work product that accumulates over 50 years. Well, your mobile devices also accumulate cruft. Or if you don't like cruft, barnacles, think of it as it's a boat, it's got barnacles. Well, when you clear the cache, you're basically telling it to, hey, let's scrape those barnacles off, and that will clear up room for stuff in your storage. Okay, so has everybody got a good feel for how this application works? And be aware I'm like showing you 1/10 of the stuff that it does. Okay, everybody's good? All right, then I'm going to bail out of the program and I'm just going to go to the iMazing website. Because the last thing that you always do if you're doing a Xerox cost and benefit sales presentation is you always do the cost of the thing at the very end. So let me just real quick bring up, there we go. I'm going to bring up our old friend Safari. And since I'm sharing the whole desktop, I don't have to worry about resetting Zoom again. So I'm going to iMazing.com. Okay, so this is their website, and you'll see that they've got that they're very proud to be Swiss. And you can see that you've got, if you click on that download button, then it'll come over here and it'll say, you know, download didn't start. It'll recognize whether you've got a PC or a Mac, and it'll download the appropriate thing. But I digress. What we're gonna look at how this works in terms of what do you pay for this thing. Now, if you just got like an old iPod and you just want to move music off of it, you don't have to buy a copy of iMazing. The trial version will let you move that stuff. The thing to remember is that it's going to have each operation, you're going to get that pop-up window and it's going to tell you how many tries you got left, how many things you got left to do. I was down to about 48 out of the 50. One of the things you can do if you're transferring is you can say, transfer all the music. It's one operation. And then have it move it to that flash drive or wherever you want to store that music, getting it off of the iPod. Now, in terms of cost, they're sort of like on two horses here. You can either buy this as a subscription, or you can buy it once and you can pick how many devices you wanted to remember. So if you go with the one-time purchase, let me just real quick here, let me move this up and get the pop-up up here. You'll see if you buy it and you've got only one device, it's $40. 2 devices, $50. 3 devices, $60. 5 devices, $75, and 10 devices, $130. Okay, so you could say to yourself, I don't want to have to pay for this every year. I just want to pay once. I only have an iPhone and an iPad. So that's 2 devices, so you'd pay your $50 for the 2 devices. But me, I'm always, yeah, but if you end up with another one, so I usually go for 3. For a normal person, 3 devices. Or, if you enjoy paying for it every year, let me put that pop up here. So if it's 3 devices, every year you're paying $35. 5 devices, every year you're paying $40. 10 devices, every year $70. 15, 80. And then there's business licenses you can get where you're managing the whole thing. Because the other thing that iMazing has in it is where, let's say you're running a company that gives iPads to their salesmen to use in the field. And you want all of those devices to be set a certain way. iMazing will let you do that. So that's all I'll say about that. So like if you're running a school and you've got a ton of iPads.
MDN.
Yeah. Especially like putting programs on them. Ooh, wow. Okay. So it's not the cheapest thing around, but if you do a lot of stuff where you want control over your photos, you're using your phone heavy as a camera, and you really want to have control over it. Especially if you want to change the format the photos are in, because iMazing will let you export RAW or modify the format of the photo. This is really, wow. I mean, I go, wow. So after I helped Bill Wharton with some of this, and I got playing with iMazing, I went, oh, geez, this could make my life so much easier. Damn it, it's worth $60. Because now, when my wife says, honey, I've got this audio book, it's on the computer, but I want it on my iPad, and I can't figure out how to get it there, I can do it. Or even better, I can show her iMazing and she just does quick transfer, boom, it does it, away she goes. So at that point, I'm going to just say, opening the floor to general questions.
Bill, is there not a way, if you buy initially 3 devices,
Yep.
and you buy a fourth device, can you buy that device a license just for that
Yes.
device?
Yes, you can say, hey, I wanna buy another seat, is what they call it.
Right.
Um,
And so
I
it's
don't
not
know
gonna
if
be
it-
the $30 or $40, maybe $10 just for that.
Yeah, it's value priced. Now, okay, some of you don't know how parsimonious I am with money. Some of you do. But I'm basically as tight with a buck as bark on a tree. So when I go, oh, yeah, I'm gonna buy this thing. I mean, my wife said, you're buying a piece of software? Do you realize it's been 8 years since you bought a piece of software? And I said, yeah, and I only did it because you wanted Microsoft Office. So I think this is a very valuable tool, value priced, if you want to have total control of your Apple devices and be able to manage them outside of Apple's ecology. And again, this is to take control of your photos, your ebooks, your audiobooks, all of that data, and most important of all, have control over your backups. Because the thing that's really great about restoring from an iMazing backup is you can pick what you're backing up, what you're restoring. You can say, oh, no, don't, from this backup that I have, don't restore the photos. Because I've just cleaned up the photos and I don't want all those old photos back up. And don't bring on the ebooks, just bring on the ringtones. In fact, just bring on that ringtone.
And it's easy to move files too, like Excel files or Word files,
Mm-hmm.
and drag and drop them.
Mm-hmm. What happens is when you do that quick transfer and you drag the file on, let me just launch it again real quick here. I gotta see what I've got in the way of files here. Bum, 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 bum. There's also, if you've got a paid version of iMazing, you also get a little menu bar widget that you can do stuff from, which is sort of neat because that I can be like, it'll over Wi-Fi see what the battery levels are on things, and I can say, oh, Carol, did you know your watch is at 10%, and you should. Okay, not your watch, your phone. So let me click here where it says continue trial. All right, so we're going to do a quick transfer. So I'm going to discover, okay, and we're going to do a quick transfer. So now I got to find a file here. Let's just bring up a Finder window. I don't know if I've got any spreadsheets here. Downloads. I don't want to do anything too big. What do we got here? Okay, so here's a picture. I was hoping I had a spreadsheet on it, but if I go ahead and I drag that, I gotta open up the device first. So you get this big window, so it's easy to drag it into the window. It says drag and drop here. We take it and we drag it. And let's see if okay. In this case, it came up and it said, oh, it's a photo, I'll put it in photos. I'm looking to see if I've got something I can use here that's sort of weird. Let's try pulling a PDF. So let's try doing a quick transfer of a PDF. Okay, it came up and it said, do you want to put it into books? So it gave me that as a choice. But let's say it was a movie file. It would look at it and it would say, oh, do you want this in QuickTime, or do you want this in VLC, or do you want this in Apple TV? And so you can tell it where you want it. If I had another ebook application on this, it would actually show that and say, hey, do you want it in that instead? Okay, I'm done. Yes, George.
Where are the backups stored?
Where do you want them stored? you tell it where you want those backups stored. And, well, I'll show you. You can set where you want to store stuff. So let's do backups just real quick. And again, I apologize for having bounced out of the app, wasted your time. And, okay, iMazing. Okay, I'm gonna click on continue trial. And I did that deliberately. I didn't want you to see how it operates when it's fully licensed and activated. I wanted you to see what the trial version does. Because I strongly recommend you always try stuff out before you pay for it. Okay, so we go over here to backups, and we see that there's one archive backup for this iPhone. And let's go down to tools, backups. What I really want is, let me close this, but I really want is settings. Here we go. We gotta click on the gear backups. So currently I've got two places set to do backups. One of them is inside a user folder, but I can add one. Let's add one real quick here. Let's pretend that I had a flash drive, and we'll pretend the flash drive is, this downloads folder is actually the flash drive. I'm just going to create a new thing. I'm going to call it flash. So it's some sort of external storage. Just pretend that this folder is that. Click, choose that, come over here, click there, say set as default. And then if I tell it to do a backup, it's going to back it up into that location.
If you just did it in a folder, it would eventually be picked up by a time machine or carbon copy cloner.
If you have that external hard drive is on part of your backup.
So you'd only have to hold it in the folder until it's picked up by one of those automated.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, how many backups are too many? Do you really need a backup of a backup of a backup?
Well, this would not do away with time machine or carbon copy.
No, but the time machine would have a backup of that external hard drive and that flash drive. So you want to have a big time machine hard drive. Because remember, the real purpose of time machine is to have a backup of your computer. The real purpose of iMazing is to have backups of your mobile devices on storage that you own.
Okay, you mentioned backing up apps or operating systems. Can it be used for backing up some of the legacy operating systems on your computer?
So like, if let's say I say,
the computer not being one of the devices you've got the license for.
let's go back into, okay, and I don't want to do it on this because this phone doesn't have a whole lot of variety of stuff on it because it doesn't have a SIM card, so it's not going to have a whole bunch of stuff. But basically, you can say, okay, I want you to back this up, but I don't want you to back up everything that's on that phone. I just want you to back up the music. And it'll then put it into an encrypted container that just has the music. It doesn't have to be encrypted, but typically, if you've got sensitive stuff on your phone, that sensitive stuff, when it's backed up, is now on an external hard drive that somebody could steal. Let's say it's a hard drive you carry with when you travel. You want it encrypted, and iMazing will let you encrypt those backups.
That's a good point too, and all the health data and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're backing it up to the cloud, that automatically encrypts it. However, if you're backing it up to that, it has to be password protected.
Okay.
So you just put a password on it and it protects it. But that way it'll save all the stuff that otherwise wouldn't. The sensitive information that normally wouldn't be saved can be recoverable as long as you put your password on it. That's fine.
Yeah, it's truly amazing.
No, it's iMazing.
Yeah,
Can you set up the backups to happen automatically, like at night?
yeah, you can do a scheduling of backups.
But you said earlier that the devices have to be on.
The device has to be
And
on.
you have to be logged into
But-
it if you have password protection.
It has to be on and on your local area network. Or it has to be on and plugged into the computer that's gonna do the backup.
Yeah, so for my phone, I have to be present then, I have to activate it, so it's gonna start the backup.
Correct.
Because it's
Correct,
not.
because it's gonna want you to put in your code or say, trust this computer. So there is some, but once it's paired, it's a paid, you paid for it,
Yeah.
and it's paired, it will automatically, when it detects it and it says, oh, it's time to do a backup of this, iMazing is running, it'll back it up.
But without me opening the phone and.
Yeah, you're walking around with your phone and it's backing it up because you told it on that second Saturday of the month to back up your phone. Or at midnight to back it up.
Okay, I'm still not sure I'm getting the right message.
You can tell it when it should back it up,
Okay.
as opposed to, hey, when you see it, back it up.
But when it looks for it to do the backup, will it be able to access the content of the phone even though the phone is asleep? It's off.
Yeah,
And
even
I
though
haven't-
it's not off, it's asleep.
Well, it's asleep.
In the same way that various alphabet agencies, if you have an Android phone, even though, in fact, if you take the battery out, they can still locate an Android. It's one of the reasons why they started doing it where you can't take the batteries out of the phones anymore. They wanted, and that's me being conspiracy now. Yes, Mr. Ward.
Along with conspiracy, another thing is if you're really concerned about security and you don't want your system to be exposed to the Wi-Fi, you don't have to transfer anything by Wi-Fi. You can go directly with the direct cord connections between whatever you're connecting. That way you never give it a chance to get onto the internet.
Oh, one other
I thought the
use
devices
case.
had to be connected to the computer with a cable
Well,
for it to work.
the only thing you have to do is that in order to have an iMazing work, it has to make a contact online. So when you pull up iMazing, it'll make the contact and establish that you do have a license. Then you can turn your Wi-Fi off, and then you're just strictly on your connections between whatever devices you're using.
Another use case. You're a journalist. You're about to go over a national border. The country that you're leaving or entering wants your phone because they want to clone it before they'll let you over the border. One of the number one uses of this is you make a complete backup of the device, you then factory reset it, you go through customs, they image the phone, it's factory reset. On the other side, you then fire up iMazing, take your phone, take your encrypted backups, and restore everything back onto the phone. And then you do a spyware check to make sure that when they were cloning it, they didn't put, you
And
know.
if it finds it, can it get rid of it?
Um,
Find spyware, can it clean it out?
I haven't had an occasion where it's found anything, so
You haven't gone to one of those countries yet, though.
it will let you know if there is spyware, and then they send you to other people that will be able to tell you what to do.
I
Okay.
don't expect to go to vacation.
But it won't
Those
protect you
countries.
against a Bluetooth injection like they did to the Iraqis to screw up their uranium distillation, you know, their cascades. They infiltrated the software on the cascades. The Siemens, not cyclotrons, what do they call the spinning? Centrifuge, thank you. Extremely high-speed centrifuges from Brazil with stolen Siemens operating software on it, and the way they got into it. And it's not clear whether we did it or the Israelis or the Iranians did it. but they basically did a Bluetooth injection through somebody's cell phone. And then once it was on the cell phone, the guys on the local area network and their cyclotrons are on the local area network, so they can update the firmware in that, and it just went in from there to that. And it was sort of malicious. They didn't make it so it didn't work. They made it so it didn't work well, and it wore parts out excessively very quickly. So, you know, you're going from a series of these high-speed centrifuges that are producing munition quality fissile material to where, you know, parts are breaking off and then they're spinning off. These high-speed centrifuges, when something breaks and it gets loose, it causes a lot of damage inside, yeah. And there's just something in me, I'm a systems guy, and I go, that is so malicious and malevolent, and it's just so neat that somebody figured that out. You know, it's right up there with where they poisoned the Soviet Navy's submarine fuel for their reactors. Anyway, that was the Chinese stuff. Anyway, with that said, any other questions about the program iMazing from Switzerland? Yes?
I have one question. With the number of devices you're talking about.
Yeah.
For instance, if you have 2 computers, an iPad, an iPhone.
It's unlimited installation and usability on computers. So I have 5 device seats, but it's installed on 12 computers. Okay, and if it ran on Linux, it'd be installed on even more of my computers. Because I'm the kind of guy, if I've got an audiobook on a device, and I want it on my iPhone, I don't want to have to go upstairs and fire up some other computer. I want to do it on the one I'm on. So it's how many mobile devices do you want it to be paired with? Keeping in mind that if it's not paired with it, you have a limit on what you can do. But you can still do stuff.
So if you had,
Yeah.
if you had 5 iPhones, I'll have 5 iPhones, but you only want to have 3, pay for 3 licenses.
Yeah.
Can you remove one of the iPhones and move, would you go to
The
another
term
one?
they use is pairing. You unpair the device, you now have a free seat, and then you pair the other device.
Okay.
So the reason why I did the 5 is if one of my adult offspring are visiting and they say, you know, this iPad is really messed up. Hey, former IT guy, Dad, can you fix it? I can go, oh yeah, okay, fine, okay. Going with iMazing and go, oh, see, the problem is the battery is bad, the battery needs to be replaced. Or go, oh, it's got such and such on it, okay. And then when they're gone, I unpair it and I've got that empty seat that's ready to go.
One other thing, one other big plus is the fact that the backup is also quite fast when you're backing the stuff up, so it doesn't take very long.
As compared to the Apple, yes.
Compared to Apple,
It
there's a
is.
big difference.
Yeah. But again, you know, I'm a tech rat. You know, if we pulled out my phone and we hooked it up to iMazing, which I'm not gonna do, because you'd see too much. You know, I've got 35 audiobooks on this. I mean, stuff like the Elon Musk biography by Walter Isaacson. Yeah. I mean, I've got, you know, we're talking couple gig there, and then there's a couple thousand photos, and then there's ebooks on it, and then there's all of this other stuff that's in notes. I mean, it takes a good 45 minutes for this thing to back up which is why I like the snapshot. The snapshot just says, oh, what's different from the last backup? Oh, let's add that, which is how Time Machine works. Okay. Yes?
I'm sorry.
John, we'll let Richard
If-
wasn't here last month.
If you had 5 devices and you had that many seats,
Yeah,
and you wanted to get all those backups done at night, for
Yeah.
example, you don't have necessarily 5 USB ports on your computer to plug them all into, so.
yeah, but see, if they're all paired devices, that means, and they're on your wireless network.
So you only need the wire connection when you initially set them up, and then after that, it
Yeah,
just doesn't,
yeah.
it doesn't
Once they're
over-
paired,
Wi-Fi?
they'll talk to each other over Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay. Didn't get that.
So like, when I'm doing backups of my spouse's mobile devices, I'm not going to her and saying, honey, can I have your iPhone? Okay, because one, she won't be home in the first place, or she doesn't know where her phone is. But because it's in the house, she leaves the house without her iPhone. Okay, there we go. I can't track her. She's, a force of nature. Anyway, but when I fire up iMazing and I say, hey, when's the last time we backed up that paired device? And it says, oh, it's been a while. I say, okay, well, back up her iPhone. And it's somewhere in the house. It's on our Wi-Fi. It's somewhere in the house. It may be in the bedroom, maybe in the kitchen, maybe, under a book, in the garage, in the backyard, on the back porch. Doesn't matter. She knows where it's supposed to be. I don't have to know, but iMazing will find it and back it up.
Well, I have a similar issue that my wife doesn't do it. She
Yeah.
knows she's supposed to do it, I
Yeah.
gave her a cues, but she doesn't do it.
Yeah.
So if I can intervene in some way, like right now, I've got to go and swipe her phone
Yeah,
and plug it up to her computer and do
Yeah.
the Apple approach to backing up.
the other thing that's nice is you have control over where the backups are stored.
Yeah.
Okay, if I'm doing iCloud backups, I don't know what server in what country that stuff is stored. Because they
You don't
treated
trust
this,
Apple.
I know it's somewhere in North America. And if I'm in Europe, I know it's somewhere in the Eurozone. If I'm in Britain, I don't know whether they back it up to North America or they do Eurozone. Where with this, I can say, oh, this dedicated hard drive is where we put all the mobile device backups. And if I'm really belt and suspender, when I'm finished, disconnect, dismount that drive, that storage unit, and I'll put it in a file safe. So that somebody can't steal it, and yet it's also protected if there's the house burns down.
Yeah, so
The one thing I wish iMazing did was remote backups over the internet, but I understand why they don't want to do that.
that introduces some of the security concerns you
Yeah,
think you
and it also violates Swiss privacy laws. So that's why they don't do it.
Bill,
Yeah. What did I miss?
hi Bill, Phyllis.
Okay.
How long does the trial version last?
Basically, you get like 50 things you can do, but when you exit from the trial version and you try it again, I believe you get the 50 again.
Okay, thank you.
So it's one of these things, they're very confident that if you've used this program and you start really going, hey, this does good things for me, they're confident that people will buy it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And we'll go back to George.
I was further intrigued by backups on legacy applications and operating systems.
Sure.
That's only iOS operating systems. It wouldn't back up any of the operating systems on the computer itself.
Oh, you can back it up onto the computer. So let's say I had
Backing up the
let's say
computer.
I had an
The operating
IBM
system of the
ThinkPad.
computer is talking about.
No,
Mac OS.
iMazing does not do backups of your computer. It does backups of the mobile devices. But let's say this was a IBM ThinkPad running Vista. Okay, circa 2009. Okay. And I plug in my iPhone and I have iMazing on that computer. I could say to iMazing, hey, back this up and put it on my NAS, my network attached storage device, which is on the network, or put it on this flash drive that I just put in.
Sorry, wait a minute. So you're backing up something from a PC computer?
You're using a PC computer that's running the program iMazing, and you're using it to back up your mobile device.
The computer is just a conduit.
Yeah,
Right.
determined.
Okay, another use case. Okay, let's pretend you got deep pockets and you've got more than one homestead. You got your condo in Hawaii, you got your condo in Miami, and then you've got your condo in, I don't know, Washington Township, Springboro. What's the pricey place now? Springboro?
Mason.
Huh?
How about Mason?
Mason,
How about
oh,
Mason?
Mason,
Mason.
Blue Ash Mason, okay. And you've got computers at those homes. And you put iMazing on all three computers. Well, when you're in Hawaii, you take your mobile device, you plug it in and use iMazing to make your backups. And when you're in Blue Ash, you do the same thing on that computer, but it's storing it on, where you want it. And then the same thing for the one down in Miami. So again, when you're traveling, that's when stuff happens to things.
But still, it's just the data or the operating systems from the mobile device. The
Right,
computers are just-
from the mobile device. The iPhone, the iPad, the iPod, the Apple Vision Pro mobile devices. I saw someone did a reference that supposedly you could also use this to back up, install applications and update operating systems for Apple TV. But I don't know if that's true or not. But it wouldn't surprise me at all. The only thing I know that it doesn't do is it doesn't work with Apple Watch. Because Apple Watch talks to the iPhone. The iPhone is the conduit for that. Okay, I'm done. Reminder, this is the last meeting before our summer break. If you show up in July, I will not be here. If you show up in August, I will not be here. If you show up in September, there's a pretty good chance I'll be here. If not me, then it'll be Rick.